First story, popular McCloud Falls campground closed due to bear activity.
Fowler's Campground. This is really interesting because I've never heard, I've heard of campgrounds closing down because of bears, but they're actually going to go through and deep clean Fowler's Campground, which, as anyone knows, if you hike the 3 tiers of McCloud Falls, it's right in the middle of it, right? And, you know, they think that with all, like, there's probably hidden trash somewhere and whatever people spilled, like grease or something on the ground.
Left dog food.
And that's why this bear keeps coming back. But this is a very popular campground, and for them to close it, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about this at first. Obviously, we would rather try to figure out a way to not have to, like, kill this bear, obviously, and so this whole deep clean, I've never heard of a deep cleaning of a campground before. It probably should be done more often in more places, but yeah, I mean, it's a black bear. It's like an RV park, right? Most of the people that
they have hookups for RVs and tent camping, all sorts of. You know which one I'm talking about, right. Fowler's. It's right between Lower McCloud Falls and Middle McCloud Falls, and if you camp there, you can literally hike to either in like 5 minutes, and right along the McCloud River, you can fish the entire thing. So it's a really cool campsite. And it's also not shocking that, you know, bears have found their way there, much like, you know, Lake Tahoe we hear all the time. People aren't doing proper bear, you know, techniques, hiding their garbage and cleaning up after themselves. And so, but it's just this one particular pesky bear that they just cannot get rid of, and so they're forced to close it and quote unquote deep clean it.
How long are they going to close it for?
It's until further notice. I think they're probably going to deep clean. And how long does it take to deep clean a campsite?
Well, right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you drop your car off for a detail, it takes a couple days. Like
they probably don't have a massive crew to go do it. You know, they probably have 1 or 2 guys that are gonna like kind of walk around the property and figure out what needs to be done. And
that's a great question. I would actually, now that I think about it, I'd assume that they would hire a big crew to come in. Every day that they close that campsite, they're losing significant amount of money. Like, you know, each campsite, and I don't even know how many there are there, maybe 20. You know, I mean, that's whatever it is, that's $600 a day or something. So, you know, it's the Forest Service, it's our tax money. So I would think they could afford it.
You can still go like hike the falls, right?
Correct.
You just can't stay there and camp.
And that's another great question, which they did not get into.
I appreciate you telling me I'm giving you great questions.
And well, they are. I'm guessing they're also going to block off the entire area so you can hike past it, but not actually go into the area where the campgrounds are, you know? So, like, anyone that's made that hike, you know, you actually walk through the campgrounds.
Right.
You know,
it's like the parking lot kind of too, right?
There's a parking lot nearby. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're not allowed to park there unless you're actually camping there. So, like, you would park at a different spots if you're going to just the waterfalls, you know. But it's you know, in my years, I haven't heard. I've heard of places closing down. Like I said, they closed down the entire backcountry of Lassen because there were so many bear incidents. But I've never heard of an actual deep clean. So it's fascinating. I haven't even heard of this in Tahoe, which, I mean, we know how many
Keep
bears.
Tahoe blue.
Yeah, but like, and I know that they have large groups of people that clean Tahoe, like the beaches, pretty regularly. But to do a deep clean like this it's really interesting. And, you know, they're going to remove any food smells they can find and basically eradicate, you know, any temptations the bear might have.
I don't know if it's going to be effective. I mean, I think really what you got to do is relocate the bear, right? You got to like tranquilize it and move it somewhere that's a little bit further away, but it's natural instincts. Its natural instincts are going to be like, there's food here. Let's go get that food.
And this is probably what they're trying to avoid. You know, in Tahoe, they have in the Nevada areas of Tahoe, they have a 3-strike rule. If a bear keeps breaking into a house, the same bear over and over and over, eventually they euthanize it. And they're trying to probably avoid this. You know, the picture that they provided, it's literally a bear like breaking into a camper.
Right.
So I'm assuming this bear is smart and causing a lot of trouble. And so they would rather close down the campsite and go through all this than actually have to relocate it or euthanize it.
We'll have to pay attention to the story. I'm sure that when they reopen, they're going to have a statement or what have you, whether they found the bear or not. And so we're going to have to stay tuned.
I wonder how long it takes for the bear to just give up and move on, right? It's like, okay, so you close it for 2 weeks, say, and eventually the bear's like, oh, no more food here. Let me move on.
Well, the water there is full of fish. Like, the water is a source of food for the bear, not just the campground. And so it's like there's still going to be food available for this bear in that area, just not as much man-made food, or at least that's the hope of this cleanup.
And maybe this would train the bear to be more reliant on those natural resources. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Again, first time I've heard of them deep cleaning something like this, and I just hope it goes well for the bear. But it's a lot of people are surely super disappointed because they got an email. They probably had their family trip or whatever, and we know that campsites are hard to come by this year after COVID. So that could ruin some people's trips. So I feel bad for them, but you got to do what you got to do.